shorter one first. Oh, this one has large breasts and breasts as additional tags. So something for you, Dario, if you're into this.
Why is this net respawn on it, but not this thing? It's not respawning.
So yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready for this fanfiction?
Yes.
This fanfiction is called A Passionate Night in Shipwreck Creek by Demont. Summary. It's a quiet night in Shipwreck Creek. Laylee sleeping quietly and Yuka are coming in from a relaxing swim. But Yuka wants to give his lover a little fun before he joins her in bed. Nighttime had fallen upon Shipwreck Creek. The gentle sounds of the river and nearby waterfalls haven't fallen silent thanks to the night's receding water levels and a little engineering know-how up on the cliff tops. Yuka stood under a waterfall despite its output having decreased in the night. Still bathed the chameleon. He rubbed himself down, washing himself all over, thankful that he and Laylee were the only two that lived here and, for now at least, wouldn't have many guests from the neighboring ivory towers which stood dormant after the impossible lair was built. His body glistened in the moonlight, bearing a slender figure, yet some muscle definition could be seen. His hips were well-toned and somewhat wide, exercise having been good to his body. His penis stood limp thanks to the chilled water. The chameleon looking at the ship he called home as a light remained on in the bedroom. Yuka smiled and sighed, pulling a rope which stopped the waterfall. He lowered himself into the deeper waters, dunking himself under and swimming towards the shore. He thought of Laylee as he lifted himself out and hung the towel around his neck. Wonder if she's asleep. Actually, you should do the Yuka voice. I think you can do it better, Dario.
But I don't have the fanfiction.
Can I send it to you? Wait, I will put it in your chat. If it works. Pop out. I can post links, right?
Yes.
LizardTaro.
Does it say anything? It didn't pop up.
But I did get it.
Oh.
But it just said LizardTaro. That's it.
Eh?
But I think because I set it up to not read links. That's why.
Oh, okay. Would have been funny if it read the link. So does it work?
Yes, it does work. I consent. Let's continue.
Okay, let me read that paragraph again. You know, it's the paragraphs starting with Yuka smiled.
Yes, I found it.
Yuka smiled and sighed, pulling a rope which stopped the waterfall. He lowered himself into the deeper waters, dunking himself under and swimming towards the shore. He thought of Laylee as he lifted himself out and hung the towel around his neck.
Wonder if she's asleep.
He headed up the stairs and opened the door. The ship having been straightened out since their first advent, as the idea of living inside a crooked ship was uncomfortable and overall a bit silly. Walking inside, the main corridor was there to greet them. The walls lined with collectibles and memorabilia from the adventures and crossover deals. He padded down the stairs and towards the bedroom, giving the door a slow push as he peered his head in, smiling, his eyes fixated on the sight of Laylee laying asleep on the bed. The bed lay under the duvet, her voluptuous body almost hidden under the covers, large breasts and ripe breathing hips just waiting for him to toy with. Tossing the towel aside, the chameleon smirked as his skin shimmered and meshed with the wooden interior, hiding himself in case the bed became wise to his antics. Oh. He lifted the duvet up from the foot of the bed, seeing Laylee's half-splayed legs and feet, and crawled under the covers. He was able to shimmy up her body without her noticing as he came face to face with her vagina, hiding between her plump folds. Her scent was unmistakable and it made Yuka sweat. the chameleon smirking with a hint of mischief. His fingers spread the folds apart and his lips soon met her pussy! He kissed and played with her pussy! His prehensile tongue working its way into her.
I think that's Laylee, isn't it?
Oh yeah, right. What was her voice again?
It's like a high-pitched...
Lady started panting, the chameleon bristling at the beautiful voice coming to life once again. His tongue slivered deep into her, his lips essentially attached to her vagina, nuzzling his lips onto her, breathing through his nose as his exhaled air bristled against the bat's smooth skin. Her hand soon grabbed his head and she let out a squeak. Yeah! Fucking hell! You could have warned me, you twat! Yuka chuckled, his mouth still full of vagina as some juices flowed into his mouth. Laylee moaned and said, Oh god, please, pull out slowly! He then pulled his mouth away, his tongue plunging out with a pop as Laylee squeaked again, her stomach convulsing, squirting out more of her juices again. God! Fucking! I told you to do that slowly, you idiot! Giving another laugh, Yuka ran his lips against her stomach, kissing her up her body, his hands running up against her supple curves. He loved how his bad friend felt. Her warmth was unmistakable and made him feel at ease. His lips peppered her stomach and lower chest until at last they emerged from under the covers. His eyes staring lovingly. Fucking hell! You could have fought me, you twat!
Wait, hold on. I need to find the text.
Well, I'm just reading the last paragraph again. Yuka chuckled, his mouth still full of vagina, as some juices flowed into his mouth. Laylee moaned and said, Oh god, please, pull out slowly! Oh my god, for a second I thought this was your mom talking in the background. Oh my god.
I go to the desert. My sister looked herself in hair after our dad asked her to check on the pipes. But to get inside, you'll have to go to exploring for a key. Ooh, banana.
Nyan.
Yuka chuckled, his mouth still full of vagina as some juices flowed into his mouth. Laylee moaned and said, Oh god, please pull out slowly! He then pulled his mouth away, his tongue plunging out with a pop as Laylee squeaked again, her stomach convulsing, squirting out more of her juices again. God fucking, I told you to do that slowly, you idiot! Giving another laugh, Yuka ran his lips against her stomach, kissing her up her body, his hands running up against her supple curves. He loved how his bad friend felt. Her warmth was unmistakable and made him feel at ease. His lips peppered her stomach and lower chest until at last they emerged from under the covers, his eyes staring lovingly into hers. Laylee stared at him and smiled, a blush crossing her cheeks. Had a nice shower, Yuka? He nodded.
Wait, where is it?
What?
Did I lose one? I think I lost. I think it was. Wait, what was that? He nodded.
He nodded? Where can you find it? Just press Control F and search for he
I'm
nodded.
I'm on the phone. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, you can also do that on the phone.
Yeah, yes, I know. No. He nodded. Just need to dry off a bit. Hope you don't mind. If I get a bit cozy, do you?
His arms wrapped around her as he snuggled atop her. Make yourself comfortable, babe. Her voice wobbled as his head buried itself between her large breasts. His arms around her back, making her arc her back a bit. She then felt his lips kiss between her breasts as he stared at her. He then leaned in and kissed her on the lips, his tongue meeting hers. Laylee slumped against the bed some more, taking in his kiss, feeling his hot breath flow into her. She gave a little squeal as his hand squeezed one of her breasts. the bat shivering with excitement. Since when does Laylee have breasts?
I
Breasts.
don't know.
They broke the kiss, a trail of saliva connecting their lips. He wiped his mouth and leaned in, kissing the bat's neck. Laylee squeaked again and leaned her head aside.
Oh God, Yoka! You know exactly where I...
She felt his teeth bite down on her, nipping the skin. She absolutely loved the feeling, grabbing the back of his head and urging him to do it more.
Fuck! You're so good!
His lips then trailed to her mouth, smooching the bat right on the lips. Yokar held the kiss for what felt like forever, his long tongue sliding into her mouth. He had to be careful not to push it too far, lest he slide it right down her throat, but as he felt his tongue push against hers, her hands wrapped around him tight. Laylee looked at him through lidded eyes once the kiss broke, a trail of saliva connecting their tongues. She stared deep into his glistening eyes, shining in the dim lights around them. They didn't say anything, just resumed kissing as Yoker grabbed his lifelong companion and rode onto his back, letting Laylee get on top. The bat laid against the chameleon, trailing a hand against his chest. She could feel the softness of his body, gripping the slight muscles as her hand caressed his supple figure. She lifted her mouth from his and laid her head against his chest. Laylee listened to his heartbeat, trailing a finger along his chest, making little patterns with her forefinger against the yellow skin of his chest, the scales feeling soft against her furry finger, kissing and nipping the skin with a fang, pushing it against the nipple to make him squeak. She smiled as the two laid for several moments. Soon, the moments of silence was broken by Yoka, who noted that Laylee wanted something more.
Laylee, not to interrupt your moment, but don't you want something a little bit more from me?
His eyes guided her attention to her large behind, grinding against his erect cock. The soft buttocks pushed against the shaft, her pussy also sliding along, leaving a minor slick trail of her juices. The bat smiled.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable just laying here. I don't want to impose anything if you just want to cuddle.
Yokar chuckled and gripped her ass cheeks, lifting her butt up.
Now, Laylee, you can have anything you want from me.
His voice fleckled with hints of pure lust. His eyes lidded as the warmth of her pussy folds rubbed against his dick. The tip of his cock was swallowed by her pussy, making them gasp in unison. Laylee smirked.
Getting straight to the nub of the matter? Alright, only if you let me do this.
She sat up to let her pussy push against his dick some more, and thrust her chest into Yoka's face, covering it with her large breath. She forced a nipple between his lips and growled,
Get sucking!
The chameleon smirked and pressed his lips against a teat, suckling the nipple and pushing his mouth further. Laylee let out a squeak. The chameleon taking the whole areola into his mouth. He suckled lovingly, a trail of saliva dripping down the breast. Laylee moaned and shuddered, hanging her head just above his, her pussy pounding his cock further. Yoka could feel Laylee dig her fingers into his shoulders, the bat moaning more, letting out a moan as a fleck of saliva dripped down the corner of her mouth. She absolutely loved being played with like this, and she desperately wanted more. The chameleon then reached and grabbed her ass cheeks, her pelvis bouncing as she took his cock. Yoka broke his kiss against her nipple and looked at his lover. Laylee, blushing red all over and moaning loudly,
Yoka!
He then lifted his hands off her ass and then folded around her midsection, pulling her in for a tight hug. She pushed against his body, their heat mixing together, the bat thrusting against his cock even more as the pounding slaps filled the air. Yoka could feel the bat was loving every moment, hugging her tight, his body changing colors to match her own. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess Yoka is now purple. Laylee gasped more and pounded his dick, sweating like crazy and blushing brightly. She moaned and writhed, feeling his cock fill her deeply. She couldn't contain herself much longer, her toes curling from the feeling of her orgasm, brewing inside her.
I can feel it! I'm gonna...
Yoka smiled.
Me too. I'm almost there.
He then started thrusting against her faster. Laylee squealing in excitement. He looked at her body and knew just how to set her off as his head lifted from her chest to her left side of her neck, and like a vampire, he craned his neck in and bit down on her sensitive skin. That seemed to have done the trick. Whoops. As Laylee's whole body shuddered, letting out a primal squeal, her juices flowed from her, coating his dick as pleasure rocked her whole body. Yoka felt his own orgasm blow inside him. The juices and the squeal she made triggering his own kinks and making him come inside her, filling her pussy with his seed. Laylee continued to let out squealing moans, her tongue lopping out of her mouth, their cum coating his pelvis and dripping onto the mattress covers, the duet having long since fallen off the bed. She stared into his eyes, glistening in the moonlight, the bed blushing deeply and smiling like an idiot.
Holy fuck! You're so cute!
The chameleon didn't reply, he simply caressed her cheek and brought her in for another kiss, the bat sinking into his embrace, essentially turning into putty in his hands. She was crazy for him, as he was for her. Her arms gripped his shoulders more, kissing away like newlyweds. She moaned into his mouth, the chameleon making him grip her ass cheeks as he blew another load into her. He had a thing for her voice, especially when in deep pleasure such as this. Yoka broke his kiss, Laylee panting like a dog as the chameleon stroked her cheek.
Wait, is this Laylee? Yuka? Your voice. I think it's more Laylee, isn't it?
No, it's him, actually. It's him.
Your voice is so beautiful. You're like my own personal ASMR.
There was a silence between the two, staring at one another before the two broke out into fits of laughter. Yurka's dorky words made Laylee giggle like a hyena, resting her head against his chest again as she pulled her pussy from the clutches of his dick, an audible pop ringing out in the ship's interior.
Bloody wars! Not walking properly after that!
She said, shuffling into a more comfortable resting position. Yuka slowed his laughter and said,
I'm sorry. I'm not good at flirting like that.
You're fine, babes. I hope it when you crack jokes like that, no matter how cheesy.
Laylee replied, smooching his cheek. He blushed deeply.
God, I just love hearing you talk.
She leaned in and smooched again, pushing her lips to his mouth. They kissed some more, the bat leaning in and moaning again before pulling away.
And so do I. You're just the sweetest thing.
Yoka couldn't find the words to say. Just his love for her made him feel like an idiot, but this passionate, nearly blind love between him and this beautiful bat in his arms was just perfect for him, as it was for her. She loved her little dorky chameleon and wouldn't want it any other way. The two snuggled against one another, Yoka letting the bat's head rest against his chest. They soon fell asleep in the quiet sounds of the night. The gentle lapping of water against the ship's bow in their little cove was like a soothing lullaby. They embraced and fell into a deep slumber, ready to meet each other again in their dreams, ready to make love once again. The end.
Wow.
So yeah, I give this a kudos. And there's one comment. Simply fantastic. Great work. So yeah, what
That's
did you
it?
think, Dario?